Hi everyone, this is your daily tarot reading for Sunday the 6th of May. Thanks for joining me. Let's have a look at what's coming up for you today via the Truth Seekers Tarot. The Three of Swords, the Moon, and the Nine of Wands. Okay, so the Three of Swords is a card that usually represents heartbreak, loss, and betrayal. So you can see these three swords, they're kind of leaning against a closed door, and this whole community is kind of closed off. So it seems to be a place from your past that you've kind of barred shut in your mind's eye or in your memory. But some of the swords, some of the negative thoughts pop out, they grow little legs and they go for a little walk and they pop out through the door and they line up and remind you just how painful something was in the past. So it may be that you get a reminder of a failed relationship or an embarrassing situation where you totally screwed up and you made a fool of yourself, or some sort of situation where you felt humiliated or embarrassed, or people were unkind to you. Something like that crops up in your mind's eye. The next card is the Moon. And the Moon, you can see this lobster coming out of the water. And that evokes a really kind of difficult feeling of dread, like something lurking beneath the water. And then imagine being on this path and like being plonked down here in this scene. You have to fight off this lobster when, you know, they're around. They're not that friendly and they snap at you. And then you're trying to get somewhere and it's full moon, so everything looks darker and every shadow is even deeper than usual. But it's kind of like a reverse sunlight. So it feels strange being out on these really bright kind of full moon nights. Then you'll have dogs howling there. It seems kind of dangerous. You're not sure whether they'll leave you alone or run after you or bite you or whatever. And then you're also passing these towers and there could be unfriendly people sitting in there causing you problems if you're trying to pass this hill and move on into the future. Maybe they're being guarded, private property. You have to get back on your boat and move around. Who knows? So there is a sense of the past coming up and really feeling difficult. And going back to that memory and working through it is going to feel really unattractive. It's going to feel like this whole process that I just described. Being plunked down in a situation like that where you really have to sweat and work hard and run around and really, you know, do a lot of work. But the good news is that we have the Nine of Wands, and the Nine of Wands means that the worst is behind you and you're out of the woods. We've got a ladder here. So the Nine of Wands conspire and work together to assist you to get to the top so you can sit on your throne, and then all your parrots will sit next to you and entertain you and you'll be on top of the world. So this is kind of called intrusive thinking sometimes. If you're doing something and something just kind of blows into your mind, a memory, and it's a really negative memory and you have a physical reaction, that's called intrusive thinking. So you don't have any control over what comes into your head. Something just appears. And some days are really good for that, and some days are worse. And some people will never experience that, really. Some people will have like, you know, thoughts of I have to do something and, oh yeah, it wasn't great when we saw Gran 5 years ago or whatever. But they're not going to have these kind of flashback moments. Some people do, other people do not. But on this day, the energy is like that. It's very likely that you will have kind of a negative flashback. But if you go through the process, then you can actually overcome that fear and that memory once and for all and make peace with it and actually lay it to rest. So, you know, usually if there are flashbacks from the past which keep cropping up and you actually cringe. I mean, I used to have this many years ago. I used to think of something and then it was so uncomfortable to me. I'd cringe and I'd be like, oh my God, just shut up. Or I wish I could just shut my head up so I wouldn't have to listen to all of that. And the best way I found to resolve that is to, first of all, stay away from mind-altering substances, and that includes alcohol. Then and any substances really, like cigarettes, people think relax them, but they make them nervous. Alcohol, same thing. People think it makes them happy and sociable, but it's actually a depressant, and in the long term, it just depresses you. So all of those things throw you off your natural balance, which you have for a reason, and you increase that balance and you let go of past stresses and things that are held in your nervous system and in your body by meditating. So when you meditate, you'll find yourself twitching once in a while, and each time you do that, it's one of your nerves kind of releasing stress. So by feeling what comes up, you can put it to rest simply by looking at it and realizing that that's something that happened in the past and that you can't change it now, and also that you're not guilty of anything. Or if you do feel like there's something outstanding, like if you're cringing because you really like hurt someone, like if you stole someone's money and ran off and never spoke to them again, it might be time to pay them that money back, and you can send it anonymously, or you can send it with an apology letter, or you can do it in person. But by taking that kind of practical action, then you're taking actual physical steps to alter that memory so it doesn't intrude in so it doesn't kind of disturb you and keep coming up and up and up and up. It's interesting because I wonder, you know, older people often say as you get older, your memories are much more important to you. And I think what's important is that your inner world and the way you relate to the world and the way you remember things, I think it's really important that you do have positive things that you can look back on and enjoy and say, wow, that was a really good time with my family and that was a fabulous vacation. And to look at the positives, because if you just remember the negative stuff and you just cringe all the time, it's important to detox that and to get rid of that, because that can really mess up the present for you. If you're constantly kind of just cringing because what's happened before, then you're in pain in the present. So sometimes we have to look at these things and go through them deliberately so that we can resolve them once and for all and not be tortured by them. Because, you know, when your mind has a wound like that, it goes over the event and it goes over it and over it too. And sometimes you nitpick the thing apart to try and see every little step that happened, and if you could have done something differently, and if you'd shown up 5 minutes later, then that would have gone. And those kind of things can be really energetically draining, and accepting them as done or handing them over to the universe or taking real action to amend the memories is going to be really liberating. And by changing these things, you feel freer. You know, with each negative kind of cringeworthy thought and memory that you drop, you feel happier and you're freer, and you make more space for more positive memories to come in. Number-wise, we've got lots of numbers. We've got 15, 16, 17, 18, and 3 is 21, and 9 is 30. 30 reduces to 3 in numerology, and 3 is about communication with yourself and new beginnings. So getting to the top and getting some negative memory ticked off and put behind you so that you can rest and that you can get it out of your system. and not have to deal with it again in future. So I hope you have a wonderful day. If you would like a private reading with me, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab to order your reading. Please remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.